Welcome to our channel. Here the darkest stories don't stay hidden forever. This is When Darkness Falls. Welcome to our channel. Here the darkest stories don't stay hidden forever. This is When Darkness Falls. On the evening of June 7th, 2021, things were going to get turned upside down again, with two more senseless deaths when at 10:06 p.m. Alec called 911. If you watched my video, Mallory Beach, of 2025, then you may remember hearing about the larger-than-life father of Paul Murdaugh, Alex Murdaugh. If you haven't, stop this one and go and watch that one. Then you can come back. Just kidding. This is a case that is going to give you chills, so a little humor will definitely come in handy. Now, to understand the family, let's go back in time a bit. Well, maybe not this far. Richard Alexander Alex Murdaugh was part of a prominent family of attorneys that started way back in 1910. Randolph Murdaugh Sr., after graduation from the University of South Carolina Law School in 1910, founded a one-man law firm in Hampton, South Carolina, becoming a solicitor in the 14th Judicial Circuit. He was succeeded by his son Randolph Buster Murdaugh Jr., who served as a circuit solicitor from 1940 to 1986. Buster was succeeded by his son, Randolph Murdaugh III, who served as a solicitor in 14th Judicial Circuit from 1986 to 2006, bringing us to Richard Alex Murdaugh, who joins Peter Murdaugh, Parker, Ellsworth, and Dedrick, also called PMPED, now called Peter Law Group, shortly after graduating from the University of South Carolina School of Law in 1994. Now, Alec and Margaret, also known as Maggie, were married on August 14, 1993, and they had two sons, Richard Alexander Buster Jr. and Paul Papa Terry. To give you an idea of who the Murdaughs are, it is alleged that after Buster was kicked out of the University of South Carolina School of Law, Alec had paid a lawyer $60,000 to have the dean readmitted with an upwardly adjusted GPA. Nothing like buying your way back into law school. It must be nice to have a checkbook instead of the consequences. Now, according to the phone records, Alec called Maggie on June 7, 2021, asking her to meet him at the Murdaugh's family hunting lodge so they both could visit his terminally ill father. Maggie then texted her friend saying that Alec sounded fishy and was up to something. When she arrived back at the hunting cabin, she had dinner with Alec and Paul, and later she had went out to the dog kennels with Paul, their youngest son. At 10:06 p.m., Alec had called 911, saying his wife and his son were dead. Each had been shot in their head, wrist, and chest multiple times with two different guns. Alec said he had returned home from visiting his mother, Elizabeth, also known as Libby, who had advanced dementia when he found them.
I'm still here, okay?
Colony County Communications.
Congressman, I have an Alex Murdaugh on the line calling from 4147 Moselle Road. He's advising that his wife and child was shot.
Okay, and sir, give me the address again.
It's 4147 Moselle Road. I've been up to it now. It's bad.
Okay, how did they shoot? Did they shoot themselves?
Oh, no. Hell no.
Okay, and are they breathing?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and you said it's your wife and your son?
My wife and my son.
Are they in a vehicle?
No, ma'am, they're on the ground out at my kennels.
Okay, and did you see anyone?
He shot in the head, and he shot really bad. He shot really
Okay, where is he shot at?
Ma'am, I don't know, but there's blood everywhere. I can see his brain. Face down. I tried to turn her a little bit, but she's got a hole in her head.
Okay, is he breathing at all?
No, nobody.
Is she? Okay, do you see anything? Do you see anyone in the area?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No.
Is there any guns near them at all?
No.
What color is your house on the outside?
If that's what you're asking, they didn't shoot themselves, ma'am.
What color is your house on the outside?
It's white. You can't see it from the road.
Okay, is it a house or a mobile home?
It's a house.
Okay, and what is your name?
My name is Alex Murdaugh.
Okay, did you hear anything, or did you come home and find them?
No, ma'am, I've been gone. I just came back.
Okay, and was anyone else supposed to be at your house?
No, ma'am. Please hurry.
We're getting somebody out there to you. Okay, what is her name?
Maggie and Paul.
Maggie is her name?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When's the last time you talked to Maggie?
Hour and a half ago, probably 2 hours ago.
Okay, you said about 2 hours ago you talked to them?
Approximately, yes, ma'am, approximately.
Okay, did she say what they were doing at all?
No, I talked to her in person.
You talked to her in person?
And please hurry.
We're getting somebody out there to you. Me asking you these questions don't slow them down, okay? And you sure they're not breathing? Is he moving at all, your son? I know you said that she was shot in the head, but what about your son?
Nobody. They're not. Neither one of them moving.
What is your telephone number?
I'm going back to my house just to get a gun just in case. I'm about 100 yards from my house.
And does anything look out of place?
Ma'am, not particularly, really, no, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I know you're upset, Mr. Murdaugh, but I don't want you to get a gun and have a gun out whenever my officers get there, okay?
I will not do that. He's been being threatened by, my son had a boat sex. He's been being threatened for months and months and months. He's been hit several times, and finally,
Do you know who was threatening your son?
it's too many people. Over the phone.
And you don't know the name of who was threatening him at all?
My son knows, and my son knows.
Your son knows who was threatening him?
I have another son, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, I'm going back down there. Are they close, ma'am?
Yeah, they've been around with you ever since you've got on the phone with me. I have multiple people coming out there to you.
This is a cold-blooded murder.
Okay, can you do me a favor, Mr. Murdaugh, and turn on the flashers on your car so that way they can see where the kennels are? Do you have your flashers on for me, Mr. Murdaugh?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want you to touch them at all, okay? I don't know if you've already touched them, but I don't want you to touch them just in case they can get any kind of evidence, okay?
I've already touched them trying to get to see if they were breathing.
Okay. Well, I just don't want you to move anything just in case they can get any kind of evidence, okay? Okay. And did your son, I know you said that he had been threatened, did your son make reports of this at all?
Yes, ma'am.
He did? And what's your son's name?
Paul.
Alec describes Maggie as, quote, just as beautiful inside as she was outside, and so adventurous. You couldn't tell her something was good or bad. She wanted to find out for herself. She wanted to do it, see it, experience it on her own. Form her own opinion. She was devoted to those two boys, Buster, Paul, and himself. He said that she made sure they didn't want for anything ever. She was such a lady, such a feminine person. She didn't grow up in the swamps in the country, and she didn't grow up hunting and fishing. She changed everything. She became a boy's mom, riding four-wheelers, doing those things. She was still 100% girl. She threw herself into her boys' life. and that Paul, was just the brightest. He was the most inquisitive young man. He said that he can remember as a little boy, you'd be working on something. Didn't matter what it was. His little head was going to come in there, nose in there, to see what you're doing. He was a man's man, 100% country boy. He was tough. He could hunt anything. He could fish. He could run any piece of equipment. He could use any tool. He could do anything. He took care of so many things. On the other hand, he had a side of him that was so sweet. He wouldn't go anywhere near Summersville without checking on his grandparents. To be such a tough person, he could get all of his buddies to get on the boat to go watch the sunset. He was such a special boy. He cared about people. He was fiercely loyal. He would help you and would be glad to help you, unquote. Seems like a man that has everything, doesn't it? However, things are not always what they seem to be behind closed doors. Buckle up. We're about to hit financial crime roller coaster. Starting back in 2011, Alex started stealing money from his clients and from his law firm. To sum it up, he had stolen over $8.5 million from his clients, colleagues, and his own law firm. Alec committed financial fraud, embezzlement, and money laundering by diverting legal settlements funds to fake accounts. He had created a fake account under the name Forge, which mimicked a legitimate company called Forge Consulting LLC, which manages structured settlements for law firms and clients. Embezzlement and money laundering by forging documents and deceiving vulnerable clients. Jeannie Sekinger, a PMPED accountant at Alex's law firm, said that she had gone to Alex on June 7th about a payment of $792,000 was not received by the firm. She stated that Alex had gave Jeannie a dirty look. He assured me that the money was there and that he could get it, Sekinger said. However, the conversation ended due to Alec receiving a phone call about his father, that his condition was terminal. Later in the evening, approximately 4 p.m., Alec called asking about the 401k balances due to working on the financial paperwork due to the upcoming hearing about the boat accident. Jeannie stated that she was surprised he was in the building working on it due to the previous phone call about his father. The even more shocking piece of information is that the other attorney involved in this is Alex's old college friend, Chris Wilson. On top of that, his housekeeper for approximately 20 years, Gloria Satterfield, was mysteriously gravely injured while working at the Moselle estate. Her son, Michael, testified after her passing. Alec stated that he would go after his own insurance company to get money for Michael and his brother. Michael stated that he never received any money from Alec, however. After hearing from the family member, he called Alec regarding the news article regarding the settlement. Michael was unsure the contact was before or after the murders. You can check out our upcoming video of Gloria Satterfield that goes more into detail about what happened. The once prominent and respected Alex Murdaugh was disbarred due to the theft that he does not dispute, and now faces 99 charges stemming from 19 grand jury indictments, including allegedly defrauding his clients and former law firm of the roughly $8.5 million. Ronnie Crosby, a partner at the PMPED, testified that he had met Alec in the late 90s, and he thought of him as a dear friend. Now, Alec and some other partners had purchased some real estate, hoping to sell it for a development. However, due to the real estate market crashing in 2008 to 2009, it put a big financial strain on Alec due to the loans that he had taken out. Ronnie said that he had known Paul since he was born, and the boys called him Uncle Ronnie. And Paul became good friends with his own son. He actually lived very close to the Moselle estate, and he'd let Paul hunt on his property. This is such a small town this happened in. Ronnie's wife was Mallory Beach's boss at their retail therapy. Alec admitted during his own testimony that he had committed financial fraud during his time at the PMPED. However, he stated he did not have immediate concerns about the conversation of the request of Chris Wilson's trust documents due to them currently being requested in different court cases. He stated after Maggie's passing, it became harder for him to get a loan due to Maggie's name being on both of the properties, especially the home at Moselle Estate was in her name solely, and the home in Adesto was in both of their names. Alex's reasoning for why he had gotten into financial predicament that led him to steal from his clients and law firm was due to his addiction to oxycodone and Oxycontin. He had stated that he first became addicted from his knee injury while playing football in college, when the surgery didn't work. He said that he started experiencing knee pain a few years later, resulting in a few more knee surgeries. The last surgery was around 2004. However, he started taking hydrocodone a few years before that last surgery and became addicted to it very quickly. He stated that he battled addiction for a long time, forcing him to quit, then go back to it. After a while, since he was taking so much hydrocodone, he moved on to oxycodone, approximately in 2008 to 2009. Alex said that he entered a sunrise detox 3 times. Alex did state that he did not try to recover on his own, and that Maggie would help him try to detox at home. Sunrise Detox is the facility he went to for 7 days. However, he never completed any therapy. During his testimony, Alex stated that he had been clean for 535 days. On Labor Day weekend, 2021, he was confronted by his law firm about his theft and was forced to resign. On Saturday, September 4th, he had met with Chris Wilson at his parents' house in Alameda, and he was candid with the theft that had concerned him. He had plans to go to the Sunrise Detox on Monday, September 6th. Alex had stated that he had plans to also meet with Corey Fleming, who was also personally affected by the things that he had done. However, Alex did not meet up with him. He stated that his withdrawals had started after meeting with Chris Wilson, due to him giving his pills to his brother to hold on to. Because of the withdrawals, he decided to not take any more pills, and that is when he asked his friend Eddie Smith to shoot him. Alex stated that Eddie did shoot him in Hampton County so that he would be gone. To knowing everything was coming to a head, and how humiliating it was going to be for his son, due to being in such a bad place. Alex stated that he had 2 insurance policies and is totaling $12 million. However, he never had life insurance on Maggie or Paul. He just had insurance on himself, but not his family. Let that sit there for a moment. This seemingly upstanding family man, who has been heard saying not one bad thing about any of his family members, and the ties with his community, has been stealing from those very people. Oh, and that's not all. According to Alec, he said that he had got back to the house in Moselle from visiting his mom in Alameda. All lights in the house were on, but Maggie and Paul were not in the house. After checking a couple of different places in the house that Maggie would usually spend time, he went down to the kennels and found Maggie and Paul's bodies. He said he tried to check Paul's pulse and turned him over by his belt loop. His belt loop? Okay. Because nothing says medical urgency like grabbing someone's belt loop. And Paul's phone popped out of his pocket. And Alec had picked up the phone and then put it back. However, Paul's phone was found lying on his back, and he said it just popped out and laid there right beside him. When Creighton Waters, the chief prosecutor for state grand jury, asked Alec if he saw any messages on Paul's phone, Alec looked down and looked defensive, but stated he did not. However, again, the phone was found on Paul's back. This is significant because of Paul's friends testified that Paul used his phone a lot, and Alex told Agent David Owen that no one knew the lock code of Paul's iPhone. For example, earlier in the day, Paul took a snapshot video just a few hours before his life was taken, and Alec was messing around with the tree that was in a location called Sawtooth Oaks.
Better than it was, ain't it?
In that location was a food plot, and each of the food plots there was an area that was like a field where you can plant vegetation, and there was a feeder to attract deer. There were fruit trees planted in the video you can see Alec fooling around with the tree that had previously fallen down, and Alec had attached straps to it to hold up. One of the straps popped off, and Alex had taken the other one off, and Papa was laughing at Alec, trying to get him to get back upright. Secondly, just minutes before Paul was shot, he was talking with his longtime friend, Rogan Gibson. Rogan said that Paul was a funny guy to be around. Alec was like the second dad. Maggie was like the second mom. Paul was like a brother. Rogan said that he did not think any threats that were toward Paul from Mallory Beach's accident not serious. Rogan had testified earlier in the day he had spoke with Paul about the sunflowers being dead. He would have to replace them. Around 8:40 p.m., they spoke about his dog, Cash's tail. Because of the poor cell service at the kennels, Paul recorded the video. In the video, you can hear Paul's voice along with Maggie and Alec in the background.
Get back! Get back! Quit, Cash. Come on. Quit! That's okay. Come here. It's not bad. Come here, Cash.
But wait, didn't Alex say he had been visiting his mother at 8:30 p.m.? Michelle Shelley Smith was a home health giver, started caring for Miss Libby, Alex's mom, during 2019. Now, Miss Libby was suffering from Alzheimer's and got worse from October 19th to 2019 to June 21st. In June of 2021, Miss Libby was unable to remember anything. Shelley's shift was from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. On June 7th, Shelley arrived at 8:45. Shelley testified that she was unsure exactly when Alec arrived. However, it was approximately 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Shelley said that it was unusual to see Alec during her shift. She stated that Alec called to say he was right outside and to let him in. She said he was wearing a t-shirt, shorts, no socks, but he did have shoes. His demeanor was fidgety. He sat or laid on the bed with his mother, and he used his phone. He held his mother's hand and spoke to her. Shelley stated that Alec was there approximately 15 to 20 minutes. On the very day of Alec's father's funeral, Alec went up to Shelley and, out of the blue, told her that he had been at the house for 30 to 40 minutes. However, Shelley stated that he was only there approximately 20 minutes. Alec, of course, testified that he did not remember saying that to her. However, he did remember telling her that Sled was going to talk to her. All she needed to do was tell him the truth. Fast forward to 3 days later, Shelley saw Alex at 6:30 in the morning. He knocked on the bedroom wall and said he was outside. He never had been there that early before. He came inside and was carrying or cradling something blue, something that looked like a tarp, and he went upstairs. Shelley was unsure exactly what it was, and she said that she had never seen that before. Did Alec truly think that he was so powerful in the community that he would just get away with this? Who knows? Let's leave him for a few minutes and let's talk about Paul. If you watched our video about Mallory Beach, or have seen any other information about the boat accident, I'm sure you have an idea who Paul is. However, here is a different portrayal of him. Now please know, I am passing zero judgment regarding what had happened on the boat accident, just simply giving a different view of the unfortunate 22-year-old whose life was cut short. Will Loving said he had met Paul when he was 15 and Paul was 13. When they were together, they would just hang out, go fishing, go hunting, simply hang out being with friends. Will said that he and Paul were roommates prior to the murders and were getting ready to sign for a house with another friend. He had been talking to him about getting a hot tub on the night of the murders. Then Paul sent him a Snapchat of Paul and his dad looking at the trees. This was the last time he had spoke with him. William McLevin was also good friends with Paul. He said that Paul was a really fun guy and everybody that knew him loved him, and he was really a loyal friend. If you needed something, he would be there for you. He would call his friends once a day. They'd hang out on the weekend just before the murders. Now, moving on to finding a little bit more about Maggie and who she truly was. Marion Proctor, who was Maggie's sister, said that their 7-year difference meant they weren't close as kids. However, started getting close when their kids were young. Marion said that Maggie was not a tomboy, but loved her kids and would read magazines when the boys would go hunting, and the boys would tease her that she was turning the pages too loudly. She would go with them when they went fishing because she loved being out on the boat. Marion said that Paul was a sweet, sweet boy, always wanting to help, incredibly kind soul. Marion had testified that the Murdaughs had a comfortable life, but not lavish life. Money was never an issue for Maggie, and she was not involved in any of the family finances. Marion stated that life after the boat crash was very hard on the entire family due to the information in the papers and what was said about Paul when he went back to school online. Marion said that she had talked with Maggie, that they talked every day, and Maggie was at the house in Modesto and had some men working on the house. Maintenance went to get it ready for summer, and Alec had called her to come home to Moselle, and Paul too. She stated it was her impression that they were going over to Alameda to visit Alec's family due to receiving a recent prognosis of his father's failing health, and she had encouraged Maggie to go to Moselle. The Murdaugh's housekeeper, Blanca, met Alec when she had helped him do Spanish translations for him. A few years later, Blanca was asked if she knew anyone that could help Maggie around the house. After not being able to find anyone, she agreed to help. On the now infamous day, Blanca said that Maggie called her and said that Alec wanted her home, but she sounded like she didn't want to come home because she was in Modesto getting the house set up for the 4th of July. Maggie stated that Alec wanted Paul to come home as well and clean up the mess that C.B. Rowe had made with the sunflowers due to going hunting that weekend and wanting everything to be ready. Blanca said that during the spring and summer, Maggie preferred to be in Modesto and would be there any chance she got. Maggie asked Blanca to make dinner due to not making it back until late, and Paul liked Blanca's cooking way better than hers. Let's go back to the courtroom now. At the beginning of Alec's testimony, he was asked if he used the gun to shoot his son. Alex started becoming upset and frustrated. He then testified that he lied to the agents during the 3 interviews because of his addiction to OxyContin that made him paranoid. He then stated he had a distrust for the SLED, South Carolina's Law Enforcement Division. However, on numerous occasions, Alec told SLED agents David Owen full access to the property, phones, cars. So which was it, Alec? Let's not forget to mention that Alex said about Claude C.B. Rowe that C.B. Rowe had been hired to help maintain the grounds of the 1,700-acre hunting property, approximately 8 weeks prior to the murders of Paul and Maggie Murdaugh. Alex stated that C.B. had killed the fields of flowers that he and Paul had planted, but most interesting is during the first interview with law enforcement, Alec told an odd story about C.B. Rowe being involved in killing radical Black Panthers. According to Alec, C.B. told Paul a story that when he was in high school, he had a fight with some black guys, and during the fight, the FBI was watching him and put him on a team with 3 Navy SEALs and killed radical black guys from Myrtle Beach to Savannah. When investigators asked C.B. Rowe about this, he denied it all. Alec testified that sometime on the evening of June 7th, when he got back to the house, he rode around the property with Paul. They checked out the sunflower fields and did some target practicing. When he got back from taking a shower, Paul was already eating dinner. He joined the family in the den, where they normally would eat, in front of the TV. Alec was on the couch, Maggie in her chair with a little table, and Paul in the recliner. Alec stated that after dinner he fell asleep on the couch, and when he woke up, no one was in the house. If you remember, Alec had stated that he did not return to Moselle until approximately 10 p.m. However, the forensic phone analysis, we would find the timestamp of Paul's Snapchat was at 7:56 p.m. and the final phone activity on his phone was at 8:48 p.m. Alex said they had no reason for blood being on the steering wheel of the Suburban. He had stated that if it's fresh, he must have put it there. But if it wasn't, Maggie must have, because she drove the vehicle also. However, ultimately the jury deliberated for less than 3 hours. and found Alec guilty. Alec was sentenced to 2 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. There have been rumors that Maggie was reaching out to a lawyer for a divorce, so that she was looking for a financial accountant prior to her death. These are not substantiated. However, they do add some additional color to this mind-blowing, senseless act. What do you think? Did Alec do it because he was going to be absolutely embarrassed of his financial crimes? Do you think he was afraid to be humiliated if Maggie left him? He couldn't cover up what had happened with the boat accident and shield Paul? Let me know in the comments down below, guys. Thanks so much for turning into another gripping case. Well, until next time, you guys stay safe, please be cautious, and remember, lock your doors to be safe. Take care. Bye for now.